Alright, let's do this one last time. My name is Zany Zebra, and for the past 2 years I've been trying to upload 100 days of Extinction, where I am a survivor who woke up in the ARK equivalent of Detroit. And I'm also surrounded by dinosaurs. And there are a lot of them this time, so that makes my goal of surviving 100 days without dying one mighty difficult task. I do have to credit Luke the Notable for popularizing this trend, but now it's finally time for Extinction to begin. Alright, starting off on our very first day of Extinction, I began by punching a tree, yoinking a rock, and there. Made a pickaxe. Crafting tools early on is great for progressing, but not if you progress into death, which I almost did when these bugs attacked me. And you'd think I could handle a few little ants, but that's not how ARK works. This is how ARK works, aka hiding in a pool until it's safe. And once it was safe, I began searching for a crystal node. And a crystal node would allow me to make a spyglass, and all I needed to do was get 2 crystals. Only 2. All we need, just 2. Nice as 1. Anyway, welcome to ARK. Later on I found a dead robot, so I looked around for whatever killed it, and I didn't see anything, and I wasn't sure if that was reassuring or concerning. Then I found a dead turtle, and maybe the turtle killed the robot, but what killed the turtle? That was kind of unsettling, so I came up with a plan. And that required a dodo, so I beat one up, knocked it out, gave it berries, named it Dingus, and now I guess we got a dodo. And they don't do much, but at least they're decent meat shields, as the bodies keep piling up, and honestly, I'd rather not be one of them. Dingus and I went to gather more supplies. Oh, monkey! But turns out we weren't alone. And as you may know, if an ARK player hears a monkey, smells a monkey, or senses a monkey, chances are they're gonna tame it. The monkey was a high level, and that meant it was gonna take a while to tame up. So how about I use this time to talk about rates for this video? See, I pulled a sneaky on you there. Cause we don't get sponsors, actually. I have no idea why. The settings have the difficulty cranked up to 1 times, hardcore mode is on, and I made some quality of life boosts like faster breeding, raising, harvesting, taming, and I tweaked the day cycle a little bit. And yes, I am on the Steam version of ARK. Notice how I didn't say Microsoft. Excuse me? Do my setting. It's pretty long. Do I want to even get close to hell? Something's off here. Is it the settings? Oh, for God's sake. Oh, This is not okay. That's all I have to say about that. Microsoft! And that. Alright, back to the monkey. I kept feeding the monkey over and over, and after a surprisingly difficult time, I gained his trust. Monkey bros for life, but no more monkeying around. Any minute we could be killed, and to survive, we had to tame formidable dinos. And so what better tame to get than a bird? Oh, you thought I was gonna make real progress. Well, I am. Just backwards. Hey boy. Knock out. You're gonna die, knock out. I mean, hey, at least I leveled up and unlocked clubs that would have been useful to tame said bird. Yeah, we had a level issue on our hands, so I went to recycle thatch foundations to pump a few more levels in, and then I got bored and harassed another bird, but there was no way I could catch that guy. I mean, unless, of course, I used some bolas. But I didn't need bolas for these 2 Dilophosaurs. You know, they're useless, but why not? I don't really tame them very often, so let's just see what a Dilophosaur can do. And no, Dilophosaurs can't do anything. In fact, I think they do less than anything. That's it. These guys attack everything they see, get attacked by everything they see, and they're also super slow. Under circumstances I refused to share information on, I suddenly had a need to tame more dinos. So I chose this Phiomia as my new steed, who I dubbed Farfalle. And so, we embarked on a grand journey of 9 minutes and 32 seconds to find a fair base location. Here seemed good. So, it is pretty much day 3, according to my inventory, and it was time to make a base. Ideas went through my head and I thought a stilt house could work pretty well here, but to be honest I'd need another dinosaur other than Farfalle. I began by making a mortar and pestle to grind up narcotics for easier taming, but I suppose the real trick was finding a dino that was still alive, which reminded me that wooden spikes exist, and I can use that to protect dinos, myself, whatever I want. Jesus. Bro. But it's not just wooden spikes that could be useful, it could be wooden shields. But why don't we take it one step further and make a dino shield? Might be even better. I shot the trike everywhere apart from its shielded head, and so it fell asleep in no time. So far so good. Apart from the defense units coming at me. That's not good. Have fun in dino heaven, buddy. It was fun while it lasted. Morale after that was pretty low. So I tamed this level 5 Parasaur for kicks, but I did make a few extra narcotics with him, which I used to tame this Pteranodon. then this new trike, and this iguanodon, and after I made a crossbow, I also tamed this ankylo. And so far we had no other casualties, which seems suspicious. That Rex isn't a good sign. Neither is that defense unit. I mean, everyone stayed together except for... Well, time to find a new one. What, 17 minutes? I can just get another one. You'll be new Tempest. And that beaver looked pretty tempting. You know what? I'm gonna take that one too. And now that we had a flyer, we could go across the map. I didn't actually go anywhere outside the city, but I did do a note run for the levels. And before going on a real adventure with Tempest, I thought it was time for a little project. The next step to progression was taming an Argentavis because they can carry ankylos, and then that would help me go around and get more metal. So I looked around the green obelisk, but there was nothing. I checked the snow dome as well, and I saw snow owls. I made a scuffed trap, which failed pretty miserably. But then the snow owl did something strange. It started flying towards the city, and I thought I could use this. So I poked at it, shooting at it with every chance I could, and then I knocked it out on the side of a building. And this building, I didn't know this, but it had a sliding feature, which is why parachutes are always a good idea. I don't know if this fall could kill me, but I don't want to find out. After I made a ramp to feed the snow owls, she tamed up pretty quick, and I named her Serenity. And like all new tames, I crafted their saddle and took them out on a test drive. Test drive is code for killing everything in a mile radius for the XP, and in this case, blueprints for enforcers. Which reminded me, I kinda wanted one of these things. And as a matter of fact, I wanted resources to make one. And they were expensive as hell, so I went to work and harvested everything in sight. Crystals, element dust, polymer, oil, metal. And that's gonna take a while. So, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Now that is satisfying. I brought my supplies to a city terminal, and we have an enforcer now. And now enforcers are pretty darn useful. First of all, they can teleport. Second of all, they destroy corrupted creatures. And finally, they can climb. And I thought if there was any tame that I would want to level up a lot, it would be this guy. So I committed a bit of genocide, you know? Right. Hello there. And when I got back to base, I mined some flint and stone, made spark powder for later. I finished my flax set, and then I wanted to possibly tame a Managarmer. And those things need traps, so I made one. And they're also found in the ice dome, so I went there. What the hell? Go away, you punk. Get me out of here. Perlovias suck so much. That is a Perlovia, and they stink up the snow cave and the snow dome. So I left the snow dome and started working on an electrical generator. And I also got a bunch of corrupt nodes as a polymer substitute, so I could make this chemistry bench. Then I shoved an ungodly amount of meat and berries in there and made a batch of narcotics in bulk because I needed a Managarmer. But it seemed the Managarmer didn't need me. So I left the snow dome again and came across an orbital supply drop. This one was blue, so it would have been an easy clap, but I saw two Reapers, and one of them decided to approach me. So in a last-ditch effort to decrease the aggro range, I destroyed the OSD barrier. But as I said, it was just a theory, and it did not work. Let me up! Yeah, no. On the bright side, we have an infinite amount of drops crashing down every 20 minutes or so. And although this yellow one is probably too difficult, I can just keep searching for the wasteland for an easier one. And there one is. I did the same setup with the spikes, but this time I was burning to death, so I made a ghillie suit to cool down. And then I was ready to go through the waves. There was a Rex there. I'm gonna lure this guy away. Around the long way. What happened? What do you mean? What do you mean? You know, I had a feeling the supply drops didn't like me today, so I switched my goals around and searched for a Rex. 135 was good enough, so I made a trap out of stone gates, pillars, and a bear trap, and lured our Rex in while adding a gate behind it. I had to wipe the area just a smidge to start drinking, but no matter how much I wiped, they just kept coming. Every single time. Oh, and it looks even cool. Oh my god. But nothing came close to the demon over that hill. I gotta get out of its distance. No! What the f- I'm really not sure how, but the Rex finished taming without a scratch. So we ran home and never came back to that place again. Now that we got a Rex, I was thinking of going back and completing an orbital drop for their cryopods. I tried out this yellow drop just to see how it was, and I think it was a bit harder than the blue ones. A Spino? Oh yeah, nope. You can have the drop now. Ramses could maybe do a yellow drop if I upgraded him, but that's a weak maybe. A better plan would just be to make a Rex army. And to start a Rex army, all you need is a male Rex and a female Rex. Ramses is a male, so we need to get a female. I found this female. I went through all the taming steps as last time, with making a pen, placing a large bear trap, luring the Rex in, shutting the door, bombarding her with tranquilizers, giving her food, and there. I got bored of waiting for her to tame, so I checked what was up with this orbital drop on the hill. Oh no! That meant there was a meteor storm, and there was an issue with that. Okay, yeah, that was a bit close. Whoa, oh no. You see, my Rex was out in the wasteland, completely incapacitated. So I just let fate do its thing. I went back to my house, waited until the storm was over, and then I checked back on my Rex, and she survived. I was thinking that meteor fiasco could be pretty good inspiration for a name. That was Roxanne. Because look, on day 20 I was raving about not having any cryopods. I had enough of that, so I went to try out my luck with a blue drop. And since this time actually works out, I think it'd be appropriate to give you a walkthrough on how this works. The OSD activates when a player enters its radius, where it releases its force field to protect from the waves of corrupt creatures, who are very set on eating this drop. Iron deficiency at its finest. Anyway, it's the survivor's job to kill the corrupt creatures before they destroy the drop. And once you wait through all 5 waves, waiting is the correct term here, the supply drop opens up and gives out goodies. It's just like a regular supply drop in the sense that it dispenses blueprints, cryopods, and other goodies as well, just with, you know, zombies. The drop gave me perishable items, and I only had a preserving bin, which is respectfully pretty trash. So I decided to get a fridge, but I didn't have space for a fridge in my house. So I decided to build a new house. But I couldn't build a new house without a stone harvesting creature, so I decided to tame a Dodic in the desert. I found this level 95, so I spent a couple of minutes knocking her out, but this Dodic took quite a while to tame and I was getting restless, so I just left her to tame on her own while I switched to my Enforcer to complete this blue drop, which was in the exact same spot as before, with the same amount of dinos and the same type of loot apart from that replicator blueprint. I'll make a replicator once we finish our new compound, which is completely dependent on this gal. I brought her to the compound and tore the entire house down. Anyway, next goal on the list was an industrial forge, and I could get there pretty quickly. I killed a bunch of psycho bots, broke dozens of metal nodes, made a few boxes for extra storage, and soon enough our industrial forge was complete. There! Just throw in some extra metal and watch it melt before your very eyes. I thought an industrial cooker would be way easier to make now that I had the forge. And yeah, basically it took me like an hour. And now I could place my industrial cooker down on an irrigation pipe and make some. We interrupt this program to give you the tattoo of painting. Hey, welcome back. Certainly glad you could join us today. Let's start out and roll the colors across the screen while I tell you why I have no shirt on right now. I thought today we'd do a painting on ourselves. Let me show you what you need. I have a shirtless friend right here. He's a muscular fellow. And let's start today with a huge blob of red right on our friend's massive forehead. We're using a thick brush to create some type of lightning bolt war paint. Be careful not to poke our friend's eye out. Or don't be careful, who knows. And to finish off the face, how about we add a streak right on top of his head, and there. Now maybe in our world our friend has a sunburn. Maybe he stayed out in the sun staring at the happy little trees for far too long. Well, I can never stare at trees for far too long, but maybe his sunburn wrapped around his nipple and into the armpit somehow. Let's grab a large dollop of red and just spread it across our friend's shoulder, just like so. And don't forget the back. We don't want our friend's back to be lonely. There we go. Now let's head back to his enormous peck, and let's start carving off the paint in whatever shape you would like. I'm starting with a survivor emblem, and let's just build around it however we please. Now the best way I can think of making these tattoos is to make it a bit symmetrical to make it easier to find where these patterns live. And maybe one pattern I'd like is a big old spine, just like so. There! And how about we just cut the peck into different sections like a slightly uneven slice of cake. Maybe on our friend the chest and the shoulder are separated just like that. But maybe it's because they're friends who live right across the street. Let's cut up the spine. And now how about on these slices there lives a river. Oh, what the heck, maybe there's a huge family of rivers, a delta. And maybe they twist and turn, always happy that they're together. There! Maybe in our world there are two happy little trees right next to those rivers. Oh, I can only imagine how nice it would be there if it wasn't on our friend's sweaty chest. But maybe you're into that. Alright, let's go to our friend's neck and continue the spine all the way up. Maybe it even has a nice little slab to rest on here. We don't want to overwork this spine. There! And now let's tattoo the upper arm so it can join in this family of patterns. Oh, what the heck, maybe this circle has a happy little tree in the middle. And for product placement purposes, how about we add the Zany zebra initials to both sides of it. But to finally finish our tattoo, how about we add some Aztec swirlies all around in the blank spots. And maybe there's another survivor emblem on the back to symbolize this to be our second attempt on this world. I would rather not talk about the first attempt. Well, here we have our finished product. I hope you enjoyed this new style of painting, but if you didn't... As the tattoo of painting left me with a large supply of paint, I gave our enforcer a makeover. Wow, yeah, I gotta make him look good because he's about to become a wall decoration. The issue with our enforcer is that he can't kill gigas, can't kill reapers, can't kill wyverns, and he certainly can't take out a yellow drop. So my only choice now was to turn to a Managarmer. I was lucky enough to find a level 120, but as it turns out, Winnie the Punks got there first. I'm sorry, buddy. Well, I guess it's time to wait for another 15,000 date. Managarmers have a tendency to spring up into Neverland, so I do recommend giving your traps a roof. And it's as simple as that. I bombarded the Managarmer with a bunch of arrows, then I gave him prime meat, then he tamed immediately, and then we went safely home. That was fun. That was a great reminder as to why I'm never gonna live here. Once we got back to base, I placed down our Managarmer, and he was looking pretty decent. It's not the best level on the map, but it sure ain't the worst. The main point is that he's reliable, and seeing who our final boss is... I named our Managarmer Maestro, and he was cooking up a storm. He could cook up Spinos, Brontos, Rock Drakes, Mama Bronto, ooh, Baby Rexes, Flying Rexes. That's about it. And this mana really had some guns on him, so I tried out a yellow drop. And it didn't take long to conclude that the guns my mana had was an Apache pistol. So you could say I required a grounded, down-to-earth plan to take out this drop. So what did I do? I started by leaving, and began expanding the Rex army, and doing a little bit of chores around the house. Oh no, it's a meteor storm. While I was waiting for the meteor storm, I did come across a few predicaments. Some more perplexing than others. I'm so confused. And some a little painful to see. Oh, Jesus. I wanted that. However, the most painful was this blue drop. That one touching down was a yellow, and I should have went for that. Oh my god, my ears! I don't know if you've ever had that audio issue before, but it hurts. It really hurts. I probably wouldn't get any compensation for the damage to my ears, so I decided to compensate myself by attempting a new yellow drop. On the yellow drop second wave, there was one missing dino left, as usual if you try these, and I couldn't find it for the life of me. Instead of waiting for a while, which I should have done, I might have gone a bit too far. Well, there goes the drop. And there goes my Rex too. Now normally I would give up and do something else, but I was determined. I was determined this time to get this yellow drop. So I went and cryoed up my Rexes, did a little bit more hatching, and we actually got some mutations. Of course, we did some gardening as well, that's important. And then I set out to find another yellow drop. Yes! Although completing a yellow drop was by far an amazing achievement, we still had a lot of work to do. So I grabbed all my stuff, assembled the Rexes, and then switched gears to another goal beyond these blueprints, and more towards Foundations, where I contain a fabled gacha. Where in the world are gachas, might you ask? Well, they're down this pit in the Aberrant Zone. I understood that they ate Foundations and such. Oh, yes. Oh, Jesus, that's not enough. I'm gonna have to go ham. Hold up. Yes, there we go. Once I returned from the Aberrant Zone, I traveled to the Green Obelisk to hunt for Argentavises. I found a pretty terrible one, but I went and knocked it up anyway, gave her prime meat, named her Alice, leveled her up, and then I used her to transport our Ankylosaurus around the map. Then I used that same metal we mined to produce an industrial grill for my back porch, and some upgraded flak armor. I bet I look good. Oh, Jesus. I made some stone foundations to tame this second gacha. Are you serious? I did find another gacha, so I threw down the foundations, and once he tamed, I named him Gunther. And once I returned home, I set up the snow owls to regurgitate in front of the gachas, which I'll admit is a strange process, but I also read that if you combine the pellets with fiber in their stomachs, they make cracked crystals. The rest of the day, I just did boring chores around the house, opened gacha crystals, arranged the Rexes, fertilized the crops, built all sorts of traps, and raised livestock, but it was getting a little too boring, and I was interested in having some fun, so I went out to search for anything to tame. Perhaps a Uteranus in either of the two domes. But there was nothing. And when I mean nothing, there was really nothing of any medium. Wait a minute, wasn't this where the artifact was supposed to be too? I was curious to see if this would be an issue in the future for other caves. So I let the artifact reset while I cleansed the Velonosaur gene pool. But once I checked the cave again, still nothing. I decided to wait an even longer time for the artifact to reset. And so I found a level 125 Velonosaur. Can he just walk out? Oh no. I'm so bad at this game, but things just keep working out. Gave it prime, named him Vaughn, made a little ceremony for him at home. I liked that. I got him a girlfriend named Vespa, and then I checked the cave again. And there it wasn't. I quickly stopped at home to make some metal spikes for orbital drops, and then went to check out the very intriguing King Titan terminal. I wondered what the requirements looked like, and unless I chugged some Compound V, or better yet, a Bang Energy, I would never be able to do that in a single video. But that taste of endgame mindset made me curious about red drops, and what do you know, it's an absolute nightmare. I might have abandoned Ramses, but he actually held his own quite well. Adding more Rexes might just work to beat one of these things. Then I thought back to the desert cave not working, and since I already had the resources needed to take on the forest cave, I could see if an artifact would spawn here instead. Do that, please. Save me. Attack my target. Oh, I hate that. You are actually luring the... Can you stop stomping? I don't like them. How did you manage to do that? Oh, wow. My game didn't crash. And now I know which Titan I'm gonna go for. Once I arrived at home, I started up some breeding, and I usually do this after I do a drop or a tame or something. It was just a part of the daily chores by now. And I usually went and hatched all the eggs at once, kept the nice Rexes, slaughtered the rest, but now my chores were getting more and more difficult, because the surviving Rexes were starving, and the city was more desolate than the wasteland at this point. So I thought it was time to use our very first cheat, Destroy Wild Dinos, and it helps a lot. The only creature that never ran out on this map were corrupted dinos. and they have something I want. I killed a corrupt Rex to claim his corrupt heart, which was in the death bag, but when I went to grab it, I was getting kind of sick of this Maestro guy. If anything, other than the scorpion saw me, I would be dead. Back in the compound, I saw that there were many Rexes to imprint, which meant that they needed more food, but I thought I could hit 2 birds with 1 stone by claiming the Forest Titan trophies by killing Brontos and corrupt creatures, while also using their meat to feed my dinos. I named my Rexes Russia, Rudonia, Russia, and Ruya, and Rignon, and they all needed saddles, so I killed the newly spawned defense units, and oh, it was satisfying to kill these parasites. And with all that new metal, I could rearrange all the Rexes with new saddles, and we did a good amount of breeding and a good amount of killing and a small amount of raising. But since all the Rexes had to wait about an hour between each time they bred, I finished up our gacha pen. This was in place to keep any crystals from flying out of the compound. And if you didn't know, you can pick what items gachas can produce, but it's a limited list every time. If you get lucky, you can get a gacha to produce black pearls. However, to produce crystals, they needed food such as fiber, and my sickle was not very efficient compared to a Therizino. So I went to the forest zone, found a level 50, and called it a day. I made the same gate trap as always, but since Theris are a little bit smaller than Rex, I added doors so that it couldn't walk out. Then I lured it over, shut the doors, and then shot it through the cracks until it knocked out. I brought enough berries, but I didn't bring enough narcotics, so I tamed a parasaur and made a mortar and pestle to pump this guy up before he wakes up. I named him Therence and brought him up to the surface and back to base, where I made a saddle so I could try him out on these bushes. And as you can see, with such a large yield of fiber, our gachas will be very satisfied from now on. They were so satisfied that one seemed to plop down a blue crystal, which looks purple at any angle you look at it. Hey, guess what happens when we cryo a bunch of Rexes? That's right, another yellow drop. I did the same technique as before, pretty easy to maintain with 3 Rexes, and overall, it was a pretty chill drop. Where the hell did you go? Where did you go? You idiot! You absolute dingbat. This game is so I really had high hopes for Maestro. I thought he'd be the Billy of this adventure, the Arthur of this legend. Perhaps I had one too many expectations for him. Now we were back at home, I thought of making something special. A shack of sorts for a program of sorts. We interrupt this program to flex our new intro for the ARK of Painting by Bob Rossick. Hi, glad to see you again. Now let's run the colors across the screen, and believe me, it's a mighty big list this time, cause I thought today we'd do something special. If you have your 3x3 canvas ready, let's go one up here and get started. Now we have some aqua blue canvases right here, and let's jump right into some outlines. Use your 2-inch brush, grab some black, and let's make a grand old mountainside. Just like that. There. And let's look at the creases of the canvas to see where we can continue the mountain, and maybe make some peaks. How about there's this one right here that touches the sky, and on the next canvas it reaches just so far to gaze out at the stars at night. Now let's finish the outline on canvas 6 with maybe some wild peaks here and there. Who knows where they live, that's up to you. And now for my favorite part, the fluffy clouds. Oh, son of a gun, I forgot to tell you. Painting our canvas the easy way doesn't let light colors show up like titanium white. See, I pulled a sneaky on you there. Well, on the bright side, turning them back to titanium white lets us keep our big mountaintop, oh darn. And now this requires a bit of patience and a lot of paint, so grab your aqua blue and spread it across the canvas, just like so. This could really be the only boring part of painting, but anything can be fun if you put your mind to it. I just started one of these online games with the apples. I even made my own daily maze. There. Now then, let's put some happy little cloud things up on the top. Just some big balls of fluff. When you've made a home for your happy cloud, that's when we'll move on to finish the rest of its happy body. Maybe it rises and has a large head of blessed hair, and maybe it even extends across all sorts of canvases. There! I would love to show you the entire process of making all these fantastic little clouds, but my external hard drive gets angry when I go on too long. So let's just roll a quick time lapse while I tell you fun facts about our friends the echidnas. Much like the average gamer, the echidna can usually be found living in a hole, with their spiky hairs sticking up as they safely relax in the sun without a care in the world. They're also one of the few mammals in the world that lay eggs and have pouches for their young ones. And just like that, a few drops of color into the canvas and we have our sky. Grab your dark gray, and maybe in our world our mountain is expelling some ash in the air. A little violent, but that's nature. You can't have dark without light, and certainly not light without dark. If you ever looked at volcanic plumes, you'd see that they're really just a compressed cloud of popcorn. I can just picture those strangely brainy pieces all around the smoke. Now we can take a good bit of light gray and sprinkle in the patches of popcorn pieces everywhere. And why not? Let's blend the two grays together a bit. Just keep expanding those popcorn pieces all the way up. And if you ever have trouble picturing how it looks, never be ashamed to look at a picture. There! And while we're still touching up the sky, how about we give these happy clouds a bit more detail? Maybe there are faded edges, dark shadows here and there, and they could even be clouds inside of clouds. Oh, so pretty, but our runtime is really getting long, so let's hurry up before the producers yell at me. How about we shade in the mountain with midnight black? What the heck, let's add an indication of a monkey. Let's just shade the rest in and let's start detailing the mountain. I won't lie, it took a good hour to figure out what in the world to do. It was just a happy little accident after happy little accident. And at one point, it was only accidents. Sometimes that can happen, getting stuck, not knowing what to do. But there's always an answer. It may not be the perfect answer, but not everything needs to be perfect, as long as it makes you happy. Let's just restart with some olive green and use diagonal slices across the side of the mountain, just like so. Now this is a tropical mountain, maybe in some jungle, so there's gonna be an abundance of dark shadows in those happy trees off in the distance. Using this diagonal slicing technique, let's add greenery to the rest of the mountain. And we can even flip the direction and use our mud color to create the shadows. I might have skipped a few steps with the volcano, but I will get thoroughly slapped if I keep this on for so long. Anyway, the mountain didn't feel complete without some powdery snow about to be evaporated by the eruption. Using the same exact diagonal slicing technique, we finished the snow and added a shadow using our sky blue, and it's done in no time. There! Okay, maybe in our world there's a midnight black ledge where a monkey is staying. Maybe there's even a valley with a river, and those river banks have this fine, soft, warm sand. And how about this river is a little choppy? It might like the rush of the wind. And let's add very quickly a canopy of trees that have a hint of darkness under their leaves. Let's even add an indication of the shapes of those trees with our midnight black. Let's go right below this edge, and maybe there's a closer canopy of trees, and just like our volcano plume, let's add these popcorn bits to create a somewhat decent illusion of detail. Now let's start building the nice ledges with the big old fuzzy fern bush. Let's create the outline and then add in the defining features of it. How about there's a huge jungle tree hugging the sides of our canvas, with maybe some leaves poking out. Goodness, how long have we been doing this? Whatever, we're redoing the tree, it's a happy little mistake. Make the branch more little branches, go to the ledge and create some grass blades. Maybe add some bushes, maybe they're orange. Add an indication of grass, more green, more colors, more shadows, more pop, more dye, more rocks. Maybe this bush is green, who knows? It's our own little world out there. Vines, lots of happy vines, oh so pretty. Monkey, shade it in, monkey, outline, make hair, more hair, indication of a face, and done. Okay. Here we have our finished painting. I hope you enjoyed. Happy painting and God bless my friend, I'm leaving. Yes, it is day 54, and we started that painting on day 48, and it took a lot out of me. That's 5 hours of just pure painting, and that is too much at once. Hey Trilla, you're useless now. Okay, well Trilla, you're gonna die. Have fun. Was that necessary? Maybe not, but maybe it was. The compound could use some extra legroom for what I have planned. I first left on a quest to find a small creature named the Lystrosaurus. So beautiful. And these guys act as living XP buffs, which is pretty useful for training our Rexes for battle against the Forest Titan. Speaking of, the Forest Titan has a list of tributes required to summon it, and I thought it was time to begin collecting them. Oh no! Oh, that was a bad idea. I don't know why I went along with it. See, this is why I take Nightcrawler with me. It's time to go home. We beat the Forest Titan. Of course, it came at a cost. Ooh. Anyway, with the untimely demise of our Manic armor, I decided to shop in the Snow Dome for some much-needed dinos. The dinos in question were Snow Owls, Yutas, and Manic armors. But turns out there was a supply chain issue, and I found nothing apart from this nearly maxed-out hog. And I'll be honest, I was tempted by that hog. However, grinding up resources for a trap was too much work for me right now. So I just filled him up with shotgun pellets and sniped him from a distance. Once he fell to the ground, the challenge was not over. So I went out for some prime until I realized that Serenity is nowhere near the level of Maestro. Oh, if only I had a juiced up Enforcer in my pocket. So once he finished taming, I went back to my base and tried out his passive heal, which sounds broken until you figure out once they heal, they need to eat about as much meat as 100 Rexes. Yeah, back in the cryopod you go. And we never saw him again. There was a little concept I was thinking of testing out, using the offspring of our Velonosaurs and a Quetzal as a transport vehicle to farm the dreaded element nodes. I raised 2 of them from our breeding pair, and once they grew up, I made sure to do the traditional youngling sacrifice to boost up their levels. Then once I healed up the Velonosaurs, I went out for a little test drive into the wasteland. But then I noticed a very familiar species. What the heck is that? What the heck? Am I supposed to kill it? Okay. What the hell? It's a maniac turkey. What the hell? What are these turkeys? Why don't they die? Jesus Christ! Devil turkeys. What if I stay on top of a rock? What the heck is this? The Super Turkey. The Super Turkey was not a species I was very familiar with, and as I was not looking forward to finding out more about them, I resumed the testing of my Velonosaur, and I was quite happy with the results. However, a concern about the wasteland loomed over me. My single Velonosaurus has very little survivability against Gigas, and I was approaching a Giga spawn zone. So I decided to pull out the rock and head my merry way home. Once I was in the compound, I resumed egg production and trained up my second Velonosaur, while I used my first Velonosaur in an unmounted test trial. And the results... This creature, of all creatures in ARK, uses stamina when unmounted. See, my entire plan revolved around these guys being stationary turrets. And when you add that they use stamina while they're not being... So naturally that destroyed the relationship between the Velonosaurs and I. Nevertheless, I still wanted to see my plan for this squad through. I combined bullets with narcotics to make tranq darts for my hunting rifle, and then stocked up parachutes because I was gonna tame an air mount. The famous Quetzal. All you gotta do is jump off your flyer, deploy a parachute, and rain down hellfire from above. It's actually meant to be a lot harder, but today I was lucky enough to be near a bird's greatest weakness. Glass. I gave him some prime meat and left him to tame alone because I was wondering how I could tame that Therizino over there without making a new trap. And since Roxanne's old trap won't work anymore, I thought I could just rotate between intervals of shooting darts and running away. And it's pretty refreshing, to be honest. I would recommend this. I went back to the compound to pick up veggies for a Therizino, but once I returned, I saw a familiar face. They're menaces. The way they waddle, obnoxious. I think one of my new goals, other than killing all the titans and taming all the titans and then doing the king titan 3 times, I think I might want to try and kill a turkey as well. I see you. Oh, it's almost dead. Holy Jesus! It's already at full HP again. Oh my god. This is a devil. After I tamed the Therizino, I decided to leave the turkey alone, and instead began my work on gathering black pearls. To do that, I would need a gacha with pearls in their resource wheel, so I packed a handful of stone foundations and traveled to the Aberrant Zone. And once I found a level 85, I made sure to grab her a mate, and then I brought them to the compound. And for the moment of truth. Dude. Bruh. Now that we had ARK's equivalent to a golden goose, it was time to work on the Volana squad again. I used our Therizino to cut fiber for a Quetzal platform saddle, a saddle which I later expanded to fit all of our Volanosaurs onto, but there was a problem. The Quetzal didn't support our weight. Well, that put the entire project on pause, and you know what? I don't feel like dealing with you right now. I just felt like finding a high-level snow owl. Hopefully I'll find one. So I cleansed the gene pool just a smidge until I found a level 100 male. It's not the best, but probably the highest I could find. So I started grabbing its attention like last time we tamed our snow owl, but instead of them being chased, it's us now. As we were battling it out in the city, I narrowed down his chances of escape until he succumbed to the narcotics. It was a clean tame, with an even cleaner level, so I immediately drew up plans for a snow owl farm, but there was a slight oversight. Oh no. 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 Oh my goodness. That's Whoa. Oh, what a level. I have to tame that. I'm so annoyed. I got some random 145 beals and then I look for a snow owl for 10 days. It does work. Should last 15 seconds. Okay, 2 questions. How is it not knocked out yet? And also, how has it been staying like that for an entire minute? Is it knocked out? Oh, damn it. Oh, no. Oh, God. How long has it been knocked out? Once I was cured of all distractions, the ACs were crafted, and I was able to hatch the egg. That is tiny. And it's a bad level. I continued to slay younglings to pump up our Quetzal's weight, and then I scouted the wasteland for an element node, and then left with our Volanosaurs. Okay, it started. Wait, what the heck? Are you part of the wave? Wow! There are many reasons I thought this squad would work. 1 was that velos are projectile based. 2 was that their projectiles don't damage the nodes. And 3, they're reasonably lightweight and easily expendable. But in our experiments, we did find out that they use stamina while shooting, and that negates reason 1, and therefore reason 2. So the only benefit to these Volanosaurs is that they're expendable. And now that my Quetzal can only support only 3 of them, and it's slow as hell, and it's just... But anyway, my failure of the squad left a sour taste in my mouth. So I grabbed my favorite and left the rest. Now, our thirst for drops has not gone away, and I was planning a very ambitious strategy to take on a red drop. I assembled a platoon of 8 Rexes before advancing, and then anarchy ensued. The red drop was catastrophic. Luckily no casualties, but the efficiency of our troops couldn't make up for the damages being done to the drop. It didn't help they were stepping all over the drop, but the wyverns may have been the biggest issue. They were unkillable in that sky, and we had no more air support without Maestro. And lately, we've been facing a lot of issues when trying to expand our reach to new horizons. So what was I gonna do about all that? Expand within our army. Acquire something new, something huge, something that could snatch wyverns from the sky, something that could rhyme with... I scouted around to see where any candidates were, and found a level 80. So I smelted a good chunk of metal and crafted cementing paste and gunpowder and trank darts and narcotics and stole cementing paste and cooked focal chili, which is an ingredient for an exceptional kibble, and my trank arrows and narcotics and metal gates. Oh, and bear traps. So it was time to tame this Giga. Game plan. The Giga is on a cliff. Little small space, room for error, great chance of our Giga falling. So what if the Giga intentionally falls into this valley down to our designated safe spot? Time to find out. Hello. That hurts. Oh hey, it's out now. Oh, you ate? Oh, okay. Wow. Kibble is kinda goated. Once he was tamed, I named him Gangrene. Don't look that up. Back at the compound, I made a saddle, and of course did our traditional blood sacrifice. But the weakness of Gigas is that their level benefits are not proportionate to other dinos, i.e. they suck at leveling. However, the strengths of Gigas reside in their imprinting rates, so you may know where this is going. I decided to multitask by looking for a Giga, while testing out my freshly raised snow owl named Symmetra, and she was fast. I went to visit the Desert Dome, and then the Snow Dome to look for a Uteranus. Didn't find any good ones. Then I poached a few dinos for their sales, but I thought about how every dino level is really mid right now. And the fact that the waterfalls have no fish anymore brought me to the idea of a tactical reset on the wild mobs again. While they were still spawning in, I went ahead and mined a bunch of metal and crystals, and I also mined just a couple defense units, just a little. And with all these minerals I've been obtaining, you're probably wondering what I have planned. This is what I have planned. And the only way to craft a replicator is to go to a boss terminal. The one most easily accessible being the King Titan terminal. And all I had to do was get a gas bag to make it there. But it turns out gas bags are a little bit trickier to tame than I thought. No! Stop! See, I saved you. Now you're going to Narnia. Are you kidding me? Now it's time to trap you. And there it goes. Wow, you can really move it. So you're supposed to keep it from deflate. Oh, it's out. Do you eat carrots? You do not eat carrots. Once the gas bag finally knocked out and I made those safety precautions, I left it there to tame and I grabbed the final measurements of polymer from corrupt nodes, the last resource I needed for the replicator. But before it was replicator time, I had something I had to take care of. I wonder... Come on. We got it! We got it! Who would have thought that you needed 18 Rexes to kill a turkey? After the victorious defeat of the turkey, the gas bag finished taming. Okay, we're supposed to go up there now. This is so bad. Symmetra! What the hell is that? Is it Giga right there as well? I don't know what to do. Come on! Oh, come on. No! We're gonna go straight up. Not like that. Go forward! Oh, we're gonna make it, thank God. We're not gonna make it. This is the worst experience I've ever had. I'm sweating. I'm sweating because of you. That was terrible. As I transferred the resources to the terminal, I saw that we didn't have space, and we're not done bringing metal yet, so we had to replace something, and that was polymer. And we had to get polymer the old-fashioned way, which meant we had to get obsidian. And when I mean obsidian, I mean all the obsidian on the map, which is why I used corrupt nodes in the first place, but no matter. We could finally craft the tech replicator. And guess what? I didn't have space in my base for it, which is a problem for another time. I killed a couple dozen corrupt creatures for their trophies, and then prepared to tame another Giga. I found a level 25, brought her to the old trap, and then rained hellfire until she knocked out. And now with a new Giga, we could finally start raising our own Gigas. And it was gonna take 20 minutes to hatch this egg, so I went and killed just a couple more corrupted. You know, you can never have too many trophies, unless of course you die in the process, but you know, we're fine! And the egg still had a couple minutes until it hatched, so I just AFK'd everywhere around the base until it finished. I spent the next 3 days raising her, which is luckily the only 3 days of footage I never backed up. Absolutely nothing happened though, so you're really not missing out on much. Okay, I did do some off-screen renovating. It didn't get very far, but at least Gigantic Waste of Time was matured. And we went on our test drive, and killed a couple things, and it did go pretty well apart from the stamina. But after that drive, I could feel an itch. Every time we defeat a corrupted dino, and we've killed hundreds of them at this point, we're one step closer to beating Extinction. And even if we're not ready for the King Titan, I'm ready for anything else. Anything Extinction throws at me. We survived this long. What's a couple more days? Now at this point of the production, I don't think I can ignore what you might be thinking. What took Extinction so long? Why didn't I say anything? All those old updates, those release dates about when this video would come. I always thought that I could reach those deadlines, at least to some extent, but that year, I couldn't do it. It's not that I didn't want to. Back then, this was my jam, but I just wasn't in the right spot, and I didn't want to let you guys down again. So I thought if I forgot about the channel, then you guys would too. But you didn't. I got hundreds, thousands of messages on YouTube, Instagram, Discord, asking me to release Extinction. And it's here. It may not be the prettiest video, it sure isn't the most consistent, and it might not even be that good, but it's here. Every message you sent, every comment you wrote, it exists because of you.